pay attention.
It starts here.
Now that we're all prepared, let's start the show.
The conversation is about to get louder. You're listening to Miggs and Swig. Don Miggs, Ben Swig, JoJo, Lisa, and JJ. From music to marriage, from politics to parenting, from dating to deep thoughts and sports. Get ready for Miggs and Swig. Life out loud.
Let's get the show on the road.
All right, how you guys doing out there? Miggs and Swig show, and it's just really Miggs and Swig and JJ today. It's just three of us. If you've been following the show at all, and hopefully you have, welcome to your Sunday morning. Sunday morning, I don't know if I'm allowed to say the H-E word, right? Sunday morning hell.
Yeah, you're allowed to say that.
So I just was complaining a little bit that I
complaining?
Yeah, I got in at 4
For the first
a.m.
time ever in the history of Don Miggs, he's actually complaining.
I got in at 4 a.m. and then Ryan tells me he got in at 4 a.m. too or something. Or
Yeah, you worked till 2:30, I think, and then had a 45-minute drive home. So
yeah,
you lose.
No, I performed and then I shook 350 hands and took photos and then when that was all done,
where were you last night?
I was in Houston.
Houston.
Mm-hmm. So I get on the plane and I have The Martian. And I said, all right, I'm gonna watch The Martian. I don't know what I was thinking because there's an hour delay, and so I'm gonna be getting home an hour later. I'm not an hour delay, an hour
time difference.
Thank you, Ben. I'm gonna need your help all day.
That's fine.
this.
I'm here. Miggs and Swig show.
Yeah.
But,
So I start watching The Martian, and the plane that I'm on is like moving all over the place. And then the opening of The Martian, there's this whole scene.
I have a question about The Martian. Is it a comedy?
No.
Okay, so why was it nominated for the Golden Globe comedy?
Yeah, I'm not really sure of any of that.
So
maybe because he dances, that one dance scene, maybe that's
I don't know.
a
I've never
comedy.
seen it, but I don't understand. I mean, I've seen previews for it, and it sure doesn't seem like a comedy to me.
Well, I only got through the first half hour, and then I needed to go to sleep, and then that didn't happen anyway. But I'm just happy and bursting with love to be here today. By the way, I would like a little hand clap. JJ, give me a hand clap. Is your thing even on, JJ? How about
the other one on?
there you go. This is my 14 days on this cleanse that I've done.
Wow.
On tour, which is tough. So on tour, I bring the little bullet thing.
Does it make that exact noise?
And I room with John, our guitar player, and he doesn't care about anything. Like, I care about every noise that's made. He's like, oh, you could do whatever you want. So I'm like, in the morning while he's sleeping. But I do 2 shakes a day and 1 meal, and I can't believe the energy I have. I have not had one drink, and on tour, people offer you drinks all the time. I haven't done any of it.
Have you had chocolate?
I have not had any chocolate.
No chocolate.
No chocolate. I've not cheated at all. Nice. And so now I'm 14 days in, and I don't know what to do with myself. I woke up this morning. I'm like, well, what do I do?
Because it was a 2-week.
Yeah.
It was a 2-week cleanse.
Yeah. So I had an apple and some almonds, and I think that's all I'm going to do.
So you're going to continue?
I think so. I'm down 10 pounds now, and I believe, anyone out there who knows this stuff better than I do, you can just call 1-800-771-1025. I believe probably 8.5 pounds of that is water, and I've really basically,
So during the
nothing.
cleanse, you're not supposed to drink water?
No.
He's lost water.
You lost water. You lose water weight first and foremost.
Okay. It means
But
nothing.
your stomach is shrinking, and you...
My back shrinking, my back fat.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I've noticed your...
You want to get on that mic, or?
Hey.
It comes down. It goes right to your mouth. Okay. You've noticed what, JJ?
I've noticed you. I mean, I
Go
just
ahead.
saw you today. I
Go
haven't
ahead,
seen you for
baby.
4 days.
What else have you learned?
But
about me?
you're more happier. You're
Yeah.
more light on your feet.
I am very, 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 very light in my loafers.
I love when JJ was about to pay Dawn a compliment, and her face wasn't really in the mic and couldn't
He
hear.
wanted
But
to hear
Don wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
It was loud and
Because
clear.
he sensed the compliment coming on, that he wanted to make very sure that the compliment came through.
Me and Gwyneth Paltrow are obviously in cahoots, because I just read that she thinks there's a lot of misinformation about her diet. I think that she thinks way more people care about what she's doing than do. But she said that, hey, I eat other things too. I'm not just, because everyone's always worried about her. She said there are these rumors and misinformation about what she actually eats, and it's not all gluten-free and alkaline only. Thank you very much. I don't know why. She goes, I don't really have any rules. Gwyneth, shut up, all right?
Yeah,
just
eat a
shut up.
cheeseburger.
Yeah.
Shut
Just
up and
shut
eat a
up, Glenn.
cheeseburger, Glenn.
All right. Hey, did you do the Powerball, Ben?
I did. And
Big winner? Big winner, were you?
Big winner, $12.
Oh, that's more than I
But
made.
but another sad story. During this whole craze,
The Powerball craze.
the Powerball craze from when it was 800 million to jumped up to 1.5 billion. The news and what to do with it and how to spend it and how people go. And then you hear all these stories about Powerball winners going broke or lotto winners going broke. And I have to say it's another sad story. I won $12, and then I immediately
Spent 16.
I immediately went and bought scratchers,
There you go.
and I went broke.
There you
So but it was crazy because I didn't realize until doing some research on it for the show, because I knew we were going to talk about it. But there are 44 states that are involved in in Powerball.
Why aren't they all?
Well, because Nevada has gambling.
They're making
and
their
the
own
other
money?
the
They
other
print
ones,
it?
I don't understand. I don't know about the other 6, but even Puerto Rico, you can play Powerball. And the thing that's so ironic about it and hypocritical is our government doesn't want gambling, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this whole daily fantasy sports, whether it's gambling or skill, it's based on odds, right? What differentiates gambling and skill-based games. And the lotto was 1 in 200 and something million odds of winning.
Right.
And yet our government just peddles gambling.
That's right.
Peddles it.
Well, they just haven't figured out how they're going to make it all work. You have something to say over there, Jamie?
Yeah, as a poker player who used to enjoy playing online until the government shut it down about
Right.
5 or 6 years ago, the government doesn't hate gambling. They just
hate
want their
people.
cut.
That's
Right.
exactly.
As
I was
long
just
as they can
gonna
get a piece
say,
of the action,
when they
they're
figure
fine
out,
with it.
But
why do you think? I mean, marijuana is starting to get so popular. With the government's getting okay with it because they're going,
They're
wait a
getting
minute,
their
we're
cut,
making
yeah.
a gazillion dollars off.
Yeah,
of
as soon as the
this.
politicians can get their hands on the money, they're fine with
Right.
anything.
So Jamie, I agree with you. I agree with you about the illegal part of the online gambling, but this daily fantasy sports was legal. Government was getting their cut, and yet now they want to shut it down.
Because there's busybodies who aren't getting it. It all funnels through because playing online poker actually is legal, which is something I did all the time. It's hosting the site, which is what they decided was illegal.
Because they were hosting in
because they were
country.
hosting in a different country and things
Right.
like that. So it's because of the internet age, and you can't tax it. You can't go after the people that, because they're not here in America, is something they think it goes
Right.
wrong, which never, I didn't say never, but it rarely happens
Yeah.
that something goes wrong. Because, like, just to stick with the poker thing, PokerStars is a publicly, not publicly funded, it is publicly traded on the London stock market. It's a company like any other company out
Right,
there.
right.
But for some reason, our government's like, no, we don't want you. Get out.
Right.
And they shut you all down.
And then out of that
And-
came the new rule of gambling versus skill, and out of that rule came daily fantasy sports, which is, now being shut down in New York, which they're allowed to go back in Illinois, Nevada, and so on and so forth. But it's gambling is versus skill is based on odds and based
Correct.
on, but yet they'll push lotto and Powerball all day long
Right.
on billboards, commercials, etc. And your odds of winning are 1 in $231 million odds of winning the Powerball.
Also, you are still allowed to bet on horse racing online as well.
True.
Because the people in Kentucky, it's such a huge industry there
Yeah.
for them. They push it so hard
Lobbyists. Yeah.
that they've
It's
lobbied
all
for it, and it
lobbyists,
works.
man. I mean,
It is.
really, and I know that's not about the Powerball craze, but
Did you-
that's sort of our. No, I did not.
You didn't play?
No, there was a moment on tour. Everybody in the band was like, "All right, we're doing this. We're going to do this thing." So they all get their Powerball thing. And I'm just drinking shakes. I'm just trying to stay. I'm just trying to stay out of the way, you know.
Right.
So they're all excited that what they're going to do with their billions. And the interesting thing, so Walker, our drummer, won $12, so he won $4.
Hey, so did I.
And John, our guitar player, won either 4 or 12. And we had left New Orleans, and we were now in Texas. So Walker, we probably spent more time on the phone trying to figure out how he could get his winnings, and it turns out you have to be in the state that
That's
you won
crazy.
in.
That's crazy.
So he spent easily $4 to $12 a time just figuring that out.
I think it's worth it. I mean, if it's $2, $4, $8, I mean, $10, if you buy 5 tickets for $10, I think it's worth just
being in the hunt.
being in the hunt, but just a dream.
Yeah.
I mean, just the let your imagination go crazy and see how you're going to spend the money, because that's what I did. I bought my tickets, and for 2 days I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to take care of this charity. I'm going to quit the Miggs and Swig show. You know?
Well, I don't know, man. I've never been. I know this is going to sound so corny, but especially for me, I've won the lottery. I mean, I married Lisa DiBartolo.
True.
You know?
You
And
can
I don't
marry
just
that.
mean that because, and you were married to her sister. I don't just
Right.
mean that because of the money. I married this amazing woman. But what does come with her has been a lot of money. What I've learned is I used to think money was so evil. I always had it like, ugh. And there's a part of it that is really
Absolutely.
evil. But with their family and what they've taught me is they're so giving that they don't attach to it. So I don't attach to it. There is nothing that I need. And there's nothing that I couldn't live without except my boys and my wife. And maybe a guitar. Give me my Jimi Hendrix guitar, and you can take the rest if you had to. And in that, you only get to figure out. Everyone's always saying to me, and we were having this conversation based on Powerball. Everyone's like, well, your life's pretty charmed. You do all this. And I said that everyone thinks they want the money. And I got to tell you, and Ben, because you had it. Once you get the money, the mo money, mo problems
Jay-Z.
is completely real.
It
Before
is.
noon every day, at least one person now. It used to be at least 3, but I've been weaning people. At least one person before noon every day asks me for money.
Something. Or an investment in a company.
Right.
And yeah.
And you listen to the Miggs and Swig show, by the way, 1-800-771-1025. It's just Swig and JJ and I. We have an exciting show. We don't have the juice because we're going to do our own juice, but we have Adam Owett, and Adam is the president of Sony Music's Arcade Creative Group. And they say it's a cultural shift agency. And they've won numerous Grammys for album art and a lot of advertising awards for brand campaigns too. And they have clients from Coke to AC/DC to Puma and Michael Jackson. And Adam Owett has won a bunch of awards. And he and I are friends because several years ago, Miggs was looking at Sony to maybe put out our albums. And Adam, I went and visited and met with Adam, and he was really interesting. And I saw on the wall David Bowie and all these people, and he's friends with these guys. And so when David Bowie just passed away, I had asked Adam if he'd come on the show, and he is going to do it. So if you have questions for Adam, by the way, you can follow him on Instagram at Adam, ADAMTOWETT, ADAMTOWETT, Adam Owett. But he has some great stories, and he's going to do some Bowie. And I mean, that saddened me a lot. I sort of brushed by Bowie, and I can lie and say that we actually really met and spent some time. But I was in New York once playing Arlene Grocery, going to watch someone at Arlene Grocery, and it was the drummer who plays with Bowie, who used to, and Bowie comes walking in, and the whole room just was like, "Doof,
Yeah.
that's David Bowie."
Yeah, I actually met David Bowie. I would like to say I was old, but I was 11 years old, and it was the second concert I'd been to. My first concert was
Wow.
Rolling Stones in '81 at Candlestick Park.
Not bad.
I was 9. So my second concert was Rolling Stones, and the Cars opened up.
Ben was very, very poor.
my dad did the insurance for Bill Graham Presents, so he got access to tickets and backstage, and we had backstage passes. And we went backstage after the Cars and waited, and David Bowie's about to take the stage, and he's walking out, and David Bowie stopped and got down on his knees and looked me straight in the eyes.
He's so short. I can't believe he had to get down.
I was 11 years old, but looking into his eyes kind of freaked me out a little bit, because if you didn't know, David Bowie had 2 different colored eyes.
Yeah, dude.
But he took the time, sit down, and sort of like messed up my hair like you do with kids, and I was a little peeved about that. But he said, glad you're here, kid, and took the stage. And I just
Wow.
remember being 11 years old and seeing his presence on the stage, and it resonating with me, like how he took control of it, and his whole stage presence, and his.
That's David Bowie.
I mean,
and he was amazing because he changed every album. He always had a different persona, and he really did the meshing of art and music in a big way, and continued to till his death. If you didn't see his the last video, what was the name of it again? I just went blank.
Lazarus.
Pretty amazing,
Yeah.
and some iconic stuff that if he were younger, someone would have made. He wears these bandages and he has these like screws for eyes. That would be something that would be on repeat in a lot of places.
And I think that David Bowie's death sort of encompasses how he lived his life.
Yeah.
And he was not really in the spotlight and limelight. And for 16 months or a year and a half, he had cancer, liver cancer.
Yep.
And only a select few people knew. I mean, I'm forgetting his name now. Brian Eno, the world-renowned producer who produced U2 and Coldplay, and of course David Bowie, him were close friends. And he didn't know that he had cancer. And he had written him an email a couple days before he died, and it was basically a goodbye email, sort of masked in not saying goodbye. And the amazing thing is that his last album, and you talked about the video for Lazarus with his Band-Aid, was called Black Star.
Yeah.
And if some people are reading into it, and I wouldn't put it past them, but the Black Star is also what they call when a woman takes a mammogram, they see the scar.
Yeah.
Or they see the cancer on the mammograms is actually called Black Star.
It's crazy.
So
well, that's David Bowie. We're gonna miss him in the music industry. If you want to speak with Adam when we come back after the break, 1-800-771-1025, and you're listening to the Bone Miggs and Swig Show.
Everybody knows me now.
The Bone.
I love Jaron.
Jaron was with my
great.
wife and my ex-wife and JoJo. They
Your
were,
ex-wife, my ex-wife.
Your ex-wife
Yeah.
and my wife and JoJo. They were all together last night at dinner, in LA. I got to tell you, I'm going to do another shameless plug. My EP is available on Spotify. It's not on iTunes, but it's on Spotify. And Ben, if you don't have it, it's if you haven't listened, I'm upset. But
No, I have not.
you haven't.
But I will. Maybe.
That's not true. All right. Hey,
What's
it's the
the name
Miggs
of
and
your
Swig Show. It's Miggs. 1-800-771-1025. I believe we do have our friend Adam Mowat. And if you, before the commercial, I was saying Adam's the president of Sony Music's Arcade Creative Group, Cultural Shift Agency. I got to really understand what that means.
Yeah.
I'm not smart enough. But Adam, are you there?
I am here. Good morning.
How are you, sir?
I'm very good. Thank you for having me on.
Well, thank you for being on. It was interesting. I was on the road, and when you're on the bus, you have a lot of free time. And I had sent a note to Adam because for some reason he came into my mind because of how things work. A friend who introduced us, I thought of him, and then I thought of Adam, and so I sent him a note. And then afterwards, I was like, wait a minute, Adam was friends with David Bowie, and I'd love to speak with him on air about it. So here we are. Thank you very much for taking some time out and doing this with us, Adam.
Well, it's my pleasure. And to clarify, I worked with David on several projects from probably about 2002 or 3.
Uh-oh, you're cutting out.
Adam, you there?
You know?
Don't cut out, Adam. Don't cut out on us. I have so many David Bowie questions.
Did I?
There you are. You're good.
Okay. Sorry about that. Just to clarify, I worked with David and my team did at Arcade from about 2003 until Black Star, which just came out, as you know, 2 Fridays ago. So we all had some very extraordinary experiences, including me, and it's very sad. And I think the first thing, the most important thing to acknowledge is the sadness that his loved ones and family are experiencing now. It's extraordinary, and of course, people like me, even though I worked with him, I'm a huge fan. We're all terribly sad also.
Yeah, and he seemed like he was actually really exciting to work with because he was so creative and really understood about art and commerce and sort of mixing art and music together as well. Was it just exciting for someone like you from the creative side to be working with somebody like that? Well, obviously it was.
Well, it was a dream come true because, years before I was in the business and doing creative and music and advertising and brands and all that. I was an ardent David Bowie fan, fan of his innovation, his songwriting, the fact that even through all the artifice and theater came honest emotions and opinions, and he really stirred me inside, which is, I think, the greatest gift of real rock and roll, right? And so working with him was amazing on many levels. I would say creatively, in many cases when Arcade and I or my team work with artists, they're looking for guidance and direction with David. Even though certain videos were our concepts, obviously he approved them and massaged them and worked on them with us throughout. But things like album art and things always start with David. So he was brilliant. He was a teacher.
Really? Did you guys know? You had to. Did you know he was sick for the final 18 months? I mean, he was so dang productive.
Well, we all knew that he was sick. None of us, and I'm sure his closest in the circle, his best friends, his family, knew the degree of it. But we did not know. We kind of figured, he's fighting it. We all know so many people, sadly, who fight cancer, and he was so extraordinarily productive and everything. I mean, as recently as a week ago, last Monday, one of my most senior creative directors was working with his team on a billboard for Times Square for Black Star. So, everyone woke up shocked, or was woken up in the middle of the night shocked.
And he was involved in right down to that degree. He was part of that process.
He was down to like when we did the advertising campaign for the next day, or I shot a bunch of videos and things with him, several, not a bunch, and he was not only involved in being an actor in them and an approver, so to speak, but in the development of the concept, who was going to shoot it, how it was going to be shot. He was one of the most multifaceted artists of all, and that I've ever met, and interested in every aspect of culture, from literature to photography to fine art. Just a fascinating guy.
Well, you're listening to Adam Owett speak about David Bowie here on the Miggs and Swig show. Thank you guys for tuning in. I do have a couple more questions. I know Ben does too, but I wanted to just ask what you just said about how fascinating he was. We keep talking about how music in general, we talk a lot about this on the show. It's the passion hasn't eroded, but for the consumption, it's really down to, including what you do, the art, which is so important. And nowadays, it's like people don't really even see album artwork, and they don't really get albums, and there's not the same sort of just the passion about the industry. But we're always talking about who could be next. Who do you think could be the next Bowie, and can something like what he's done happen again even today?
Well, a couple of things. One is I don't think there will be a next Bowie. Yeah. I don't think we had a next Mozart. So and perhaps we'll never have a next Beatles or whatever.
Right.
So I guess that's my feeling. There's a lot of people on the forefront, and it's really it's impossible to predict who's going to have the longevity in what areas, and what they're going to contribute. There's
Oh, that wasn't a good sign.
We lost him.
Well, not for good. We didn't lose him.
Right.
Adam Owett is not lost.
He will be found, and hopefully he'll call back in.
Ground control to Adam Owett. Do you want to ask me the question?
No, because you can't answer it. You're not smart enough.
How do you know I can't?
You don't have the relationship with Bowie. But it's interesting to get that perspective, and people knowing that he was sick, and there were some rumors going around, and when the Olympics were in London, I guess 4 years ago now, they had opening ceremonies. They had all the greatest British rock stars there.
Right.
And Bowie didn't participate in it. And he was asked to do it, and he said no. And so there were some rumors going around about his health then. And so I think everybody sort of knew that he was sick.
Right.
But nobody actually knew how bad or dire it was, obviously. I mean, how can you, when he releases an album, a week before he dies, or there's a picture of him December 12th, going into
right. I saw that, but he did look sickly.
He didn't look great. He
looked a little Don Miggs-ish, like pale.
Right, but he didn't look like he was going to die a month later.
Right.
I mean, I guess that's the power of cancer, and people who can, have had somebody who died for cancer can realize how quickly it can deteriorate.
I'll tell you what, though, that you think of someone like Bowie, and it doesn't matter if you love.
Hey, it's Adam.
Hey, Adam.
Apologies to all the listeners. I'm actually not in New York City at the moment. I'm out in a rural place in the Hamptons, and
Well, we have a couple more questions. I know Ben Swig has one right now.
Yeah, Adam, this
so-
is Ben Swig, and thanks for joining us. If you're just tuning in, you're listening to Adam Howitt of Sony Music's...
Adam Owett.
Adam Owett, I'm sorry, of Sony Music's Arcade Creative Group. If you have a question about David, we're talking David Bowie, and if you have a question for Adam, I'm sure you take a couple of phone calls at 1-800-771-1025.
I might not take them because I have more questions.
Right.
Go.
And can I just say one thing that I think is very important, that I think is
Absolutely.
special about David? You know, I've worked with a lot of artists who've been great and some have been less great. You know, we all know about that. But David dealt with everyone, whether it was a receptionist at a studio or the head of a record label or whoever it might be. He dealt with everyone the same way. He was friendly. He was warm. He walked the streets of New York City and other places, and just walked into coffee shops and things. He was incredibly warm to me. One example, my wife came on the set one day after we'd been shooting for several weeks, and he came running off the set and said, "Hello, wife." Just introducing himself. He's just a good guy. And that kind of goodness and decency combined with that genius and creativity is another rare feature of David that I believe he should be remembered.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and that, it's funny, Adam, because that's sort of along the lines of the question. You must have some ESP or something, because that's along the lines of the question I was going to ask him. Obviously, he spent a lot of time with David and worked on his projects, and I think we throw in the music business. Don's obviously got his band. I own a record label, and I think we throw around the word genius and innovator a lot.
Not with me. No one's ever thrown it around.
Okay, maybe not with you. Right?
I suffer with the same problem.
Yeah, but at least in our own minds, we think we are. But there's no denying the fact of how he changed music from. And not only changed music, but he didn't have one genre. I mean, he changed his look, his music. And so I guess my question to you is, what's your favorite thing about Bowie, and what's your favorite Bowie story? I don't know if there's the wife story that you already told, but if you could just get a little, tell.
Let me, while I'm thinking about my favorite thing about Bowie, I think my favorite, I'll tell you my favorite story, and it may not be that insightful, but it is an example of, I was working on a second set of videos. We had done stuff for the album Heathen, for the song Slow Burn, and David called us. That was all done, and he was about to release Reality. And I got a call from his assistant, who he works very closely with, for me and two of my creative team to come down and hear the new album. And we went down to Wonderland Studios on Houston Street in Broadway, which is no longer there, unfortunately. It's Philip Glass's studio, which was right near where David lived. And it was just David and Tony Visconti, and they played down the whole album. And they took the time to say what each song was about, like New Killer Star was, and a lot of this was a reaction to post 9/11 and things as well. It's important to realize still, he was, having been able to see that out of his windows. But New Killer Star was a play on how George Bush, the first president, said. George W. Bush said new killer.
Yeah.
And it was really, really funny and everything. And I think, being in this room, and then all of a sudden we start talking about the old album and the song Slow Burn we had worked on. And I had never thought about this, and I'm usually crazy about the personnel on albums. And he kind of baited us on, like, who do you think did the guitar? Who do you think played? And we just kept guessing and guessing and guessing. He was having a lot of fun with it. And finally he revealed to us that it was Townsend.
Wow.
Which was incredible. But he was playful and insightful. He let you into his circle. He didn't, so that was one great story. And I think along with that, in that whole process, certainly in the Slow Burn shoots, he almost acted like a big brother. He'd ask me what I read and things, and I said, well, I really love John Fowles and this, that, and the other. And he basically gave me a reading list. He wrote it down. I wish I still had it. It was like an assignment that I had to read.
Wow.
And books like Ian McEwan's Atonement,
and
many others, and it was just amazing. So he really cared about people. He wanted to educate them. He wanted to share what had excited him, and he always gave credit to others.
That's
he took
wonderful.
plenty for himself as well.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that. And Adam, we only have less than a minute left. I just wanted to ask you, what are you doing right now that you're most excited about? Just to switch gears a little, and we really thank you for being on the show, Adam Owett. So I want to know what you're most excited about right now in your work.
Well, Arcade is a very interesting entity for a music company to have a combination advertising, content, and music creative agency together. And what we're most excited for is as brands become much more important in the development, we did this with Bowie as well, of albums and getting them exposed and monetized, is doing it in a way that is respectful to the music and puts the music and the artists front and center and keeps their integrity while also benefiting brands, which we also think are important for the way our world goes around. And we're doing some cool stuff, and along the way we meet the most incredible artists. So our world has doubled from album covers and videos and things to stuff we do with brands, and so I'm just excited about doing it right, so it's not just a sellout.
Well, thank you, Adam.
Thank you very much for your time.
At Adam TOWETT, you can follow Adam at Instagram. Say hi to him from the Miggs and Swig show. And Adam, thank you very much, and I'm sure you and I will be speaking soon, just offline. So thank you very much for calling and taking your time with us.
Thank you very much, Adam.
Well, it's a pleasure. Sorry about the drop-off.
Nope.
Have a great day, everyone.
Thanks.
Bye. Bye.
By the way, I'm kind of a big deal if we want to get back to Genius, because Adam Mowat, I know the guy that knew David Bowie.
You know that guy.
I'm perfect at that guy.
Yeah.
Hey, you listen to Miggs and Swig show.
You are that guy.
We have a lot more coming up on our MLK weekend. Happy Sunday, and we'll be back after these words. Miggs and Swig. Yes, Life Out Loud and online. This is the Miggs and Swig show. This is Don Miggs. And,
Hi, Don.
I'm here with Ben Swig and JJ, who's been really insightful thus far.
Well, you're lucky to have me because I burst your bubble on Friends.
You did. I got to tell you, during the break, I said, hey, I want to talk about this Friends reunion. And JJ's like, because there's not really a reunion. She gets very sort of like, she really does. Anytime she is right about something, JJ.
I don't usually speak unless I'm right. I don't speak much, but when I do, it is because I'm 100% correct.
So we all thought, reading about, I guess, just the headlines, right, about this new big
Friends reunion. And I told her, you've been misinformed, JJ. And she goes, well, she reads it all. She's like, well, maybe I'm not misinformed.
And it turns out that it's not actually a reunion, like they're going to be in the coffee shop again.
Correct.
Yeah, they're not going to be in the coffee shop and acting. They're just going to do a tribute. And so,
and Matthew Perry is not going to be there. Is he a bloated tick or is he thin as a rail? Is he back on drugs? Not on drugs?
He's had some issues, but he's definitely in the heavier realm. But
poor Matt.
Hard.
With the fame thing?
That fame thing really gets some people.
Some people deal with it better than others. I'm obviously dealing with it really, really well in my life.
After the cleanse.
I'm post-cleanse.
Post-cleanse.
My life is good. So, JJ.
Some of the best reunion shows?
No, I didn't ask you that question.
Okay.
I got to tell you, Friends, I didn't really, it was okay. Lisa and I just watched, we just finished last year. We started from the beginning, watched every season of Friends, and I forget how long it took us, and she's going to probably text me
10
and say.
seasons.
So we saw the 10 seasons, and we were so impressed with the show. It was better. It was solid writing. The thing I cannot stand in any show is canned laughter. So that always bothers me. Even if there's an audience, just shut up. I want to know. I want to laugh when I think it's funny.
Right.
That's why the very best show ever on TV is Seinfeld.
Yeah. Well, best comedy.
Best comedy ever is Seinfeld, and that's the only one I care about.
You know the funny thing about Seinfeld? Like, it wasn't about anything.
No,
right? I mean, it was a show about a guy living in New York.
But how many phrases, how many things?
Oh, it was brilliant.
Close talker.
It was brilliant.
Low talker. Yada, yada, yada came from Seinfeld.
And going off topic for just 1 second, speaking of Seinfeld, did anybody watch Sitting with his Coffee with Comedians with Barack Obama?
Oh, my God. It was amazing.
If you have not seen it, please do yourself a favor and Google Seinfeld Comedians with Coffee with Obama. And
Coffee with Comedians.
Coffee with Comedians. And he takes Obama for a ride in his car, and they can't go outside the gate, so they're just riding around in a Corvette. I mean, it is brilliant.
And Obama really plays well on it.
It's great.
JJ, what were you going to say? And we didn't want to interrupt you. We know you only speak when you know what you're saying here on the Miggs and Swig show. If you want to join JJ, 1-800-771-1025, only if you know exactly what you're going to say. and we'll give away something. I don't even know what we have right. Oh, actually,
lots of things.
Actually, from our friends at Showtime.
Oh, congratulations to I forget her name, the actress
Maura Tierney.
Yeah,
Maura Tierney for
Maura
her
Tierney, yeah, from The Affair,
Golden Globe winner.
And we will we'll give you the first season of Showtime's The Affair, and it's available now on DVD. We have that. We were all pretty obsessed with it. You could also obviously go to Amazon or wherever DVDs are sold and get it, or go to Showtime.com or show.com.
And we'll get to JJ in 1 second, but I'm very, very excited about the premiere tonight of Billions on Showtime.
Oh, yeah.
Their new series is premiering tonight at 10 o'clock, I think, 9 or 10. So it's with the actor, I forget his name because I can't remember my own name. Damian Lewis from Homeland. From Homeland, and it's a new show, and it's gotten great reviews so far. So check it out on Showtime.
All right. JJ, what do you have that you know?
So what I was going to say
Here we go.
Was that one thing that you do not know about me was that in college I actually was.
You have a third nipple. No,
I had one in college. No, I used to seat the audience for Friends for one season.
Really?
What I do know about JJ, when we're going to learn about JJ.
She has a lot of jobs. She's done a lot of things.
Yes, if you want to see JJ, I don't know if you can find this. There is video of JJ on the Donny and Marie show when she was in her Matthew Perry phase. She was a little bit larger, and she gets up on some
proportions were
different.
I had some weight gain from being.
She had a little.
It's okay. It's all right. You don't have to justify. We've all had that.
Oh,
period.
but Ben, you want to see someone run? This is. You know how when you think of sexy running, you think Baywatch on the beach, red thing.
Pamela Anderson. Boobs,
JJ was the
bopping.
opposite. I can't even do her run. I can't even.
I was a runner also in high school and college, and to run like that, I'm sure my.
It was like a potato with sticks in the arm. There's video somewhere.
It's on YouTube. We won't post it.
No, yes, we will.
Oh, yes, we will.
Control of our social.
Jamie,
you'll have to figure out
you
where
have
it
something?
is because this is a whole slew of videos on YouTube.
What's it under on YouTube?
I honestly don't know, Jamie, but it is
the Donny and Marie show.
So
the Donny and Marie
it.
90s show.
And she's
They're
running.
singing "Jump Driving Whale."
All right, "Jump Driving Whale." There you go. All right, thank you. Okay, excellent. Ben, what would you want to see have a reunion? What would be your show? Don't Breaking Bad me.
No, I mean,
Game of
it's
Thrones?
tough. It's tough. I don't watch a lot of comedies. I watched Seinfeld. I wasn't a religious. I watch Seinfeld more now than I did back in the day. I wasn't a Friends watcher. Maybe once. It wasn't a Cosby. I'm not a really comedy TV show. Kind of got more. I like more dramas.
Right.
And usually dramas end.
Just tell me what freaking show you would like to see done.
I'd like to see a remake, and I think it's probably going to be in the works because they showed him alive at the end is Dexter.
Dexter would be good. And again,
Dexter,
by the way, a Showtime show. Jamie,
I disagree. But I think in the last, because I was a huge Dexter fan. I loved the first 4 seasons. I think it got old. Yeah, and
it
then
did get old.
What happened is the showrunner, who's the guy in charge of saying how the direction of the show, he left after the first 4 seasons. Which I will put the first 4 of Dexter against any show
ever.
It was unbelievable.
And the problem is, and not to be critique of our sponsor, but I think that there's only so long you can suspend your disbelief, right? There's only so he's a mass murderer or he's a serial killer, and there's only so much you can believe that.
Correct.
He's going to get caught. But the interesting thing is talking about remakes. I don't know about TV, but right now we're in the middle of 2 amazing. I mean, Creed's not really a remake, I guess, but it is a recreation.
How did he not get nominated? Michael B. Jordan. He
didn't
get nominated because he was
black.
No, I don't know about that.
There wasn't one black. There wasn't one.
I know.
Straight out of Compton. But anyway,
Happy MLK Day.
We had Creed.
Yeah, there you go.
We had Creed. And then the remake of Mad Max got nominated for, which is a phenomenal movie, which is obviously a recreation. Which
I can't watch it.
Normally, I think in the movie world and the TV world, when you try to stretch it and recreate it and try to they don't usually come out as good.
Well, because Mad Max, though, they had different people, and they were smart with Creed. You had the repeat of Stallone, but he made sure that he wasn't going to be the center of that show. The problem with the thing like Friends is that those people get older, and what happens is our image decides on what we like of a person. It's interesting because I met with somebody to talk about this exact thing about image, and he said,
body image?
Yep.
About your body?
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
your
He said,
strength?
whatever you like, whatever your favorite thing is about you, however your look is, maintain it. Because nowadays with the internet, like, in this last weekend, I took 600 pictures with people, right? So their image of me is what, in their mind, is what they saw of me. And so that's going to change in 2 years, in 3 years. You're going to get heavier. Your hair starts to go away. You get more wrinkles. And the public doesn't care about that. They want the guy that they saw. Like they want Michael Jackson to look like the Michael Jackson. Whatever era they came into Michael Jackson, that's who they want.
And I think when you try to recreate TV shows, either gone to movie, Entourage is a perfect example. Entourage is a great TV show.
Terrible movie.
Hey,
1-800-771-1025, The Bone. JJ has something to say here on the Miggs and Swig Show.
The Revenant is also, it's an unofficial remake of
Is
a
it really?
of a 1971 movie called Man in the Wilderness.
Can't we just make new things?
No, they're running out of ideas.
Really?
Well,
there are no ideas?
No.
I think it's no ideas, but I think it also has to do with mitigating risk, and I think in the music business, same thing. And
what's the sure thing? Which there isn't, by the way. Here's the thing. That's what's so amazing is that the industry, it's the tail is wagging the dog in almost all industries. Now, that's not to say the public ultimately decides what they're going to listen to or not listen to, but you do the industry can jam something down your throat. The reason why we love Justin Bieber, the songs are incredibly catchy, or whoever it is.
Be
but
careful about who you put "we" in there,
we?
white boy.
I'm not saying "we."
You say
as a
I
general.
love Justin Bieber.
As a
Miggs and Swig
general.
show.
Ben Swig and
loves-
Jamie do not love.
But the Miggs and
Justin
Swig
Bieber.
show obviously endorsing, the Biebs.
Oh,
We're
really?
believers.
Well, some of us.
We are believers at heart. Ben, I think you were going to say something else. I don't know. I've probably interrupted you.
No, I wasn't going to say something else. I think
That's going to be good. Good. Turn his mic off, Jamie. It's just me now.
Okay.
Jamie, how much time do we have?
we have 4 minutes.
Can we talk?
We've got 3 minutes. And by the way, for those who are curious, I did find the clip of JJ on Donny and Marie.
Did you really?
I absolutely did. I haven't heard it yet.
We'll watch it in commercial and then we'll post it on
Yeah,
social.
but I did tweet it out.
You will,
Not
though.
yet.
Oh, Jamie.
I gotta say that JJ, you look fantastic now.
Yes. She's one of the things where she came in. You wouldn't want to maintain that image. You wanted to change it to what she is now.
Jamie, what would people search if they were looking for that on YouTube?
Donny and Marie jump jiving whale.
Jump jiving
I really gave
whale.
it to you by telling you
Donny
what
and
they
Marie.
say.
Yeah,
Jump
you did.
Jiving whale.
You asked for it.
That's okay.
Google, YouTube right now. Call us in. Tell us what you think at 1-800-771-1025 Miggs and Swig Show.
There's a haircut going wrong.
But I don't know where we would start. But Ben, you and I did want to talk about the blatant lies and political debates and speeches.
Yeah.
I had sent I did a post last week on my Facebook, and just because I used to always get into the political thing, and I just said, isn't it great that I don't have to get into political things now because I go to PolitiFact and
fact check.
and I just fact check. So I'm not dealing in people saying that Obama doesn't have a whatever the thing is. His Obamacare is doing X, Y, or Z.
Right.
I don't care either way. I just want to know what the truth is, and now I get to get it PolitiFact.
Right, and it's interesting because it's. I mean, to me, it's
Go on,
so.
Ben.
I don't understand how they can be so blatant, right? I mean, it's one thing to stretch the truth, like
Right.
this whole $100 billion to Iran, like Obama's giving $100 billion. It's the fact is. We're not right, wrong, or indifferent, if you believe it or not, but we're not giving them $100 billion
Right.
in the air. It's their own money.
It is, right.
We're just taking away the sanctions.
Right.
So it's not like the U.S. is writing
Right.
Iran a check. Or the whole, they talked a lot, if you watch the debates on Thursday, about the military, the 12 Navy guys who were caught. So 12 U.S. Navy air shipmen go off course. They end up in Iran waters, okay, armed and loaded, which is obviously, if you're Iran or any other country, like, what's going on here?
Right.
So they boarded the ship with a bunch of guns. Yes, they had them on their knees, but that was just because there were guns all around. But once they got them into the room, if you go online and actually search the pictures they were talking about, they're eating, they're sitting, they were detained, and they were detained for 16 hours until they could figure out the truth. But
Right.
the way you.
It's all spin.
It's all spin.
Because it's no different than what we would do, and it's always different when it's us doing it. Everyone's like, America!
Right.
It's okay.
Right. And
Shoot him in the head.
The other thing is, to be fair, is the Republicans aren't the only ones who are doing it, right?
Right.
Obama kind of stretched the truth in his State of the Union, which I thought was phenomenal because he stayed away from policy and did what Obama does great in the spirit of Martin Luther King, probably the second best public speaker ever. But
Am I first? Really? I didn't think you were thinking
the great
that.
MLK, who we're celebrating, his.
So I'm third.
But saying that the greatest economy in the world right now, and some of the things he said, even on PolitiFact, were sort of stretching the truth. So it's not just Obama. I'm sure tonight during the Democratic debate, we're gonna have the same issues.
And so go to PolitiFact. I beg you, urge you, go there. So when people put up like the meme, the picture of I don't know, Willy Wonka, and they say some funny thing, and it's like, but Obama, shoots children in the head, and then people repost that because they think it's the truth. It's just somebody who is trying to be able to brag that they have 1 million shares of something they wrote. So don't believe that crap. Just stay out of it and just try to get some facts.
Right, and try to find. I don't know if PolitiFact. I'd imagine because they do both sides is nonpartisan. But try to. Yeah, okay. And it's a winner of a Pulitzer Prize, I see too.
Yeah.
So, go to. So get your facts straight.
Right.
Don't believe everything that comes out of
Don't listen to Fox or even NBC. None of the news stations.
Right. Don't listen to any politician or news
station.
Listen
to us at the Miggs and Swig Show.
We'll tell you straight.
1-800-771-1025. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit of the world of sports. The Rams move again. Piazza in the Hall of Fame. This unbelievable weekend we had. And I think we're going to have Ryan come in and talk a little bit about football with us. He didn't know this yet, but it was such good conversation last time. We got to do it again unless Ben decides he hates that idea.
Yeah, I'm the only know-it-all.
All right.
I don't like to share my spotlight.
All right, hey, if you want to not be sharing spotlight with Ben Swig, come back after these words on the Miggs and Swig Show.
Get ready for Miggs and Swig. Don Miggs, Ben Swig, JoJo, Lisa, and JJ. From music to marriage, from politics to parenting, from dating to deep thoughts of sports. This is one show you don't want to miss. Miggs and Swig. Life out loud.
Let's get the show on the road!
Woo! Miggs and Swig Show. I got to tell you, we just saw the greatest thing during the break, and you need to watch it. And I can tell you that our co-hosts are in L.A. right now, Lisa and JoJo, and they are watching the most amazing YouTube clip of our own JJ running on the Donny and Marie show. And if people want to find that one more time, Jamie, how can they find that?
I sent it out on Twitter, so it's at Jamie_Niles, or you just go to YouTube, Donny and Marie, Jump, Jive, and Whale. She's obviously not Donnie or Marie. She's the third person there.
She's the whale.
She's
wow. All right. Hey, the first hour, we hopefully, I don't know if you're back from church or on your way to church, brunch. We talked about the Powerball craze and Ben and his big $12 win. He spent that and another $700 on scratch it cards after, so he's the big loser. I'm excited that it's today. I'm actually upright. I just got in from Texas, flew in, and boy, are my arms tired. You know that one,
I drove back from Fort Lauderdale this morning.
You and Garth Brooks.
I was partying with Garth.
How was that when
Bucket list.
you guys are hanging?
Yeah. I wish.
Is he a good kisser
him.
or a little too much tongue? Like what happens there?
No, well, Trisha was there, so we kind of tried to.
Was she on stage?
He does a really smart thing because she's his opening act, and he plays for an hour, and then she comes on and performs, and then he comes back. So it's kind of like not really an opening act, but that's how they list it. But it gives him a break, and then she gets to have most of the audience there, which she wouldn't have if she was the opening act.
That's because he's classy.
And he's just like, there's a real genuineness about him. I know people don't like him, but he is entertainer.
People don't like him?
Well, some people like he is. He's 50-something, and he's entertainer of the year, definitely.
Yeah. Was it amazing?
It was. I mean, he wasn't doing like all the stuff that he did, obviously, like in the 90s, but he sold 3 nights out at the arena there in Fort Lauderdale. and it was an incredible show.
Do you remember when he retired and went to go play baseball?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
remember when he was Chris Gaines?
Yeah, you remember when he should have stayed retired?
No.
Remember when it looks like JJ was going to cry when she was just talking about him? That's beautiful, JJ. I'm
No,
glad.
JJ, I'm
and
glad
his
you-
last song was one of my top 10 favorite songs ever.
I'm glad somebody enjoys it.
Standing Outside the Fire.
All right,
It's a really
I knew
good
you were going to
song.
tell it. And then we also had Adam Owett on, president of Sony Music's Arcade Creative Group. And if you want to follow Adam at Adam TOWETT on Instagram, he was on talking about David Bowie, and pretty amazing that I feel like we lived in an era that had a David Bowie, because I don't know if we're going to have another one of those anytime soon. Yeah, I don't know. That was fun. I really enjoyed having that conversation. I would speak with him for a lot longer. But I want to talk a little bit about sports, Ben. What's going on? There's a million things going on. The games yesterday were amazing.
Well, one of the games yesterday
Yeah.
was amazing. If you didn't watch the Arizona Green Bay game,
Ryan, grab a mic.
Ryan, grab a mic here. You know, I've watched a lot of sports in my life. Obviously, just ask my wives, my ex-wife or my current wife, and I can't remember a game like that had so many twists and turns, plot switches, changes. I mean, a Hail Mary in football is one of the hardest, most least occurring things that happen in football. Right?
Did he say it was a Hail Mary? Because
It was a Hail Mary.
I know, because
It was a Hail Mary.
All right, but I know. I'm just saying that.
Yeah.
Did he say it, or was he like, oh, we kind of ran that
No,
play?
it was a Hail Mary.
It was a Hail Mary.
And not so. Earlier in the year, I guess 2 months earlier or something, they had won a game against the Detroit Lions with another Hail Mary, and yet they tied this game last night with a Hail Mary. And for it to happen twice in a year, for it to happen once in a year, much less twice, is
Statistically
unheard of.
impossible.
It's statistically impossible.
Yeah.
And last night's game, I mean, the got Patrick Peterson intercepted the ball, went 100 yards, called back because of a penalty. Carson Palmer threw a turnover on the 10-yard line. I mean, it was just back and forth, and finally, Green Bay goes for it on 4th and 10 or something in their own territory with 2.5 minutes left, and they don't get it. Arizona kicks a field goal. They make a terrible call on 2nd down where they throw the ball, so the clock stops, which left 40 seconds or so on the clock. Anyways, the whole thing going down the field ends up Green Bay throws a Hail Mary catch, ties the game. During the coin toss to decide who gets the ball in overtime, Green Bay's freaking out, and I can't understand why they're freaking out. But evidently, and it shows it on replay, the coin never flipped. So
I mean, has that ever happened before?
I've never seen it. Just went straight up and straight down.
Up,
It was
straight
weird.
down. I'm like, so usually the referee will throw it up, or the umpire will throw it up, and it'll spin like a coin flip.
It had to be that has to be on the official, because there's no way if you flip it the right way that it's not going to
No
flip.
way.
I mean,
Right.
yeah.
Try it.
Well,
I mean, you tried it.
I think what
you
happened.
can't do it.
It's a bit.
Yeah.
It's a big coin, right?
Yeah.
It's not a normal quarter or
It's like a $50 size.
Yeah, maybe a little bigger.
Yeah.
But so maybe what he did was he threw it in the middle, and it just the way he hit it in the middle just went straight up and straight down. And so Green Bay starts flipping out, and the referee or the umpire agrees that it didn't flip, so they re-flip the coin, and Arizona wins the coin toss and goes down and scores a touchdown. But I mean, you're obviously a sports fan, and have you ever seen anything like that in an NFL game?
This has been such a crazy year for football in both college and pro. And I'll tell you what, with some of the garbage football we've seen so far in the NFL playoffs, that was by far, hands down, not even close, the best game we've seen in the playoffs so far. And I'll tell you what, with whatever it was, 35, 40 seconds left when Aaron Rodgers went down the field, and when Aaron Rodgers is only down by a score and he's got any time left on the clock, I mean, there's a
good
very,
chance.
very good
Right.
chance.
Honestly, he has a little bit of our guy Montana in him with that. I mean, he obviously throws way harder than Montana did, but
He's got a gun.
and he
but-
never turns the ball over.
you look at how does that guy? He doesn't look like he should be that good.
Because he went to Cal Berkeley.
Yeah.
But the thing is that isn't being brought up that I don't get, and maybe Ryan, you can put some insight into this. But I was texting Rondé Barber, who's a color analyst for Fox, and obviously knows a lot about football. Been
And he
playing
was saying,
16
"Stop
years.
texting me."
And so Green Bay, it's 4th and 18 or something at the end of the game. Aaron Rodgers completes a pass 50, 40 yards down the field, and they go down, and in normal football circles or the normal play is to go up and spike the ball.
Yeah.
But instead, so they go to spike it, but instead of spiking it, Aaron Rodgers does something I don't understand. He calls an audible and runs a play and takes probably 20, 25 seconds off the clock. But Richard Rodgers, the tight end, the audible has him go to the line of scrimmage, and he doesn't get set. You got to get set at the line of scrimmage before you hike the ball, or it's a penalty. And so there's a penalty. In the NFL, when the clock's running and it's under a minute and you don't have any timeouts and you get a penalty with the clock moving.
You're supposed to take time off the clock.
It's supposed to take 10 seconds off the clock or call timeout, but they did not have a timeout, and they didn't take the 10 seconds off the clock.
They I know what you're talking about. Their 10 seconds should have been run off the
It
clock.
should have been run off.
Yeah.
And I don't know because I haven't looked this morning, but it seems to me that it was a mistake.
You see that a lot at the end of the game when you complete a pass, you have no timeouts left, and you're rushing to the line of scrimmage, and there's 6 seconds, 5 seconds, and you get a penalty, and even though there's 5 seconds left, they have to run time off the clock. Game's over.
All right.
So you see that a lot. So yeah, yesterday.
Have you seen anything in the news? I know you were up late last night and up early this morning.
I haven't really been privy to any news this morning. All I can say is. I have Arizona going to the Super Bowl all the way.
Yeah.
Well,
So does Ben's son.
Well, let me tell you. I give my picks every week, and last night I had
and we all go the opposite.
The other night I had last night I had the Arizona Cardinals, and that by 6.5 points favorites, and they were covering, and so that Hail Mary cost me the game. Yeah. But anyways, in other sport, there's a lot going on in sports. I think it's justified to talk about the Rams being green-lighted to move to L.A. Owners voted 30 out of 32 to allow relocation to.
Congratulations, St. Louis again.
Yeah,
can't keep anything there.
St. Louis has now lost.
But the Arch, they just lost the Arch.
Oh, they lost the Arch.
Yeah,
so St. Louis has lost a franchise for the second time now. Speaking of the Arizona Cardinals. It used to be the St. Louis Cardinals, and in 1987 they moved. St. Louis lost them to Arizona, and then the Los Angeles Rams, in '94 moved to St. Louis,
and said, "Man, this is cold."
And now St. Louis is moving back to L.A. So, the world of back and forth. The Oakland Raiders have moved to L.A. once and back, and they have a 1-year option.
Do we think it's good for the Rams to be in L.A.?
I think it's good for LA. I think being the second market and being without a team since I think 1994.
It's baffled me that they haven't had football in LA.
Right, much less one team, but two teams. They used to have the LA Raiders and the LA Rams, but for a market of that size, not to have a football team is bad for the NFL. I think. Although neither team was successful,
and the NFL has been suffering. Is that what you're telling us?
No, the NFL is doing just fine. But the thing that amazed me is they couldn't support two teams. Much less one. They didn't move because they were making tons of money and tons of fans. They obviously moved because there were some issues.
Let's be honest.
It wasn't working.
St. Louis is a baseball town.
Yeah.
It really is.
It is a baseball town. I'll tell you, it's a great music town. We played 2 nights there. It was great. But nobody was saying anything about losing the team. And I go out and talk with people, so I had 1,000 people there over the 2 nights. No one brought up that the team might leave.
Nobody cares.
They
about the
cared
Rams,
about how those Cardinals. That's it.
They win every year.
They talked more about Mike Piazza getting into the Hall of Fame than they did about
which
football.
is funny because I want to talk about that too. But and that was a good segment. But the thing is, it's going to be very hard for St. Louis, I think, to get another franchise. If you've already lost two,
I don't think they will.
If you already lost two,
that's what everybody keeps saying about the Rays moving to Montreal. I'm thinking they couldn't support a team there to begin with. Why do you think they lost the Expos?
Right, exactly.
Yeah, and there's already a stadium up there waiting for them.
It's
I'm like,
not happening.
You couldn't support the Expos. Why would you try all these years later for another team?
The definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. Right. So you brought Mike Piazza.
Yeah.
And,
New York Mets. New York.
Or the Los Angeles Dodgers, whichever way you look at it. But
he's a
New
Met.
York Mets.
He's a Met?
He's going into the Hall as a Met.
Okay. So
why wouldn't he?
He was elected. It brings up an interesting topic because Mike Piazza has been linked never accused or no hard evidence.
But
he's
all we
been-
have to do is look at photos of him
exactly.
before and after.
Just look at photos when Mike Piazza came in the league and compared to when he.
It's like JJ before and after.
And so, I don't want to speculate, but I think it's a pretty fair assumption to say that he was on some performing, especially in the era that he played in.
We're going to go on record here on the Miggs and Swig show, and if you want to join us, 1-800-771-1025, we're going to go on record and say there's no doubt Mike Piazza was doing enhancement prescription. Maybe, no,
PEDs.
I would say prescription.
Yeah.
Maybe I was trying to make it not so bad.
Performance-enhancing drugs.
Yes.
But, so
he was an addict of some
Pandora's
sort.
box has been opened.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of talk. There had been a lot of talk from writers and people voters who elect players into the Hall of Fame that.
What about Roger Clemens?
But Roger Clemens is a different deal because he's actually been, there's facts that he used it. But writers have gone on record that says anybody who is linked, linked. I mean, not
You don't even have to be accused.
just linked.
But can I just tell you that my big issue with it is this: it was an era when everyone was doing it, so it was. Now I don't. By the way, I've never even tried a cigarette. I'm like, I believe in everything being clean.
I'm with you.
I'm just not that kind of guy. Including like I want to get when I wanted to get bigger working out. I did it by actually working out.
No supplements or anything like that.
Oh,
none of that stuff.
You're not on juice?
No.
Oh,
I mean, I know it looks it sometimes.
Shocking.
But everyone was doing it. One thing writers drives me crazy. The same within the music business is that they comment on things like they don't really know about. I got to tell you this: you still have to hit a ball coming in at 90 plus miles an hour.
Right. It's not going to help your hand-eye coordination.
It does not. Barry Bonds, great example.
Yeah.
One of the, no doubt, an unbelievable hitter.
Mm-hmm.
But the question is when we compare apples to apples, and Hank Aaron. I mean, Barry Bonds broke records. I mean, shattered records.
Shattered.
Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire. I mean, they shattered.
They all did.
They were all. It was in an era, and I agree with you. And MLB did nothing.
Right.
Okay, so they have to.
They're
take some
complicit. Right.
They're complicit. But the question is, when you break records, and you are the home run leader, but you did it because.
Right.
The steroids, which I agree, it's not going to make you hit the ball, but it's going to make you stronger.
But Ben, then don't put him in because of the record. Put him in because of the player.
Yeah.
So I would say in those situations, because again, I agree. My favorite players are still. It's like Mariano Rivera. Never got big, but he could throw the ball 100 miles an hour, and he figured out how to be good.
With one pitch.
And how to be good when he was going to be limited physically in other ways. So I'm a fan of that. Derek Jeter, another example.
I've told people this forever, and I'm not a Bonds fan. I've been in
Me either.
I've been in sports media 3 years, and I will tell you.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this: in the few years that I've been in sports media, I've heard a lot of people say that there was nothing good about Barry Bonds in the media. There's just a love-hate relationship there with them, and there's a lot of players like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I've told people this all the time: take 250, 300 home runs away from Bonds. He's still a
Hall of Famer.
He's still a 300 hitter.
That's a great
He's
point.
still a Gold Glove fielder.
But that's my point.
MVP, all that
You've
stuff.
nailed
That's a
it. Like
great point.
that's all of them. Like
Yeah.
if you tell me about Piazza, okay, is he Hall of Fame? Okay, let's do this. Take away X% based on he hit it further.
When do you think he was doing it?
Right.
Yeah.
He still had to hit the ball
Yep.
in that high pressure situation.
Yeah.
I was friends with a guy who played on that team. He was the bullpen catcher. That's all he was. He got the ring. I'm sorry. He was on the team for earlier, 86. He got the ring. But he was so good in school. So good in school. Robbie Drummerhauser. You could throw a golf ball at him anywhere. He could hit it with a stick. His hand-eye coordination was amazing. He couldn't make the major leagues. He was a bullpen catcher. It's so freaking hard. You got to give this guy credit.
Well, I do, and I think that. The other thing with Mike Piazza is the only reason he got a shot was because Tommy Lasorda, and it was his nephew. He wasn't even drafted, and
that makes it even better, right?
Right. So the door's been opened. Pandora's box been opened. If you have a thought on Mike Piazza or anything, give us a call at 1-800-771-1025. You have it tuned to the Miggs and Swig show. You can also watch us live and see our very scary faces at theboneonline.com/bonetv. We are streaming live we'll be right back.
And we're going to come back with
Yeah.
how stupid people can be. There's a selfie idiot, and then drug abuse and criminal action in the spotlight, because that's so much fun to talk about here on the Miggs and Swig Show. And
Really quick, I have my pick today. We got it last week with the teaser. We are going with the Denver Broncos over the banged-up Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yes, sir.
7 points. Buy
So
it down
you go with it.
down to 6.5.
Peyton Manning's got one last hurrah in him.
all right, and because Ryan's saying that, we're going to go with it. Here we are on the Miggs and Swig Show, back after these words. All right.
All right.
I got to tell you,
Tell us.
I do miss the ladies on the show, but we do have just the best lady ever. It's JJ, and if you want to watch JJ running,
Donny and Marie Jump, Jive, and Wail from 1999 on YouTube. It is a much different JJ, that you will see if you're streaming online right now.
The camera
Wow.
adds 10 pounds.
Wow.
that one added about
I mean,
110
JJ
pounds.
And the cake has 20.
JJ, I just have to say, well done. Whatever you've done in your life, whatever changes you've made in your life.
She met me.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Look, I'm glad you got that basketball out of your face. It
Hey.
was kind of
Can I?
Sorry, I'm a net.
Can we just quickly talk? It is MLK weekend, I guess. So Monday's MLK Day. I don't know how you feel about it, but I know that there was we had a couple little quick facts.
We did.
That Ben the one I really only care about, youngest man ever to win the Nobel Peace Prize at 35 years old. What makes that amazing to me is that he did it when racism was like so crazy. So for him to have had that happen is really nuts.
And I'll just read through some of these. He wasn't born with the name Martin. He was born with the name Michael King Jr., and these are some facts that most people won't know. And his dad changed it to Martin when he was 5. Like you said, he was the youngest person to ever win the Nobel Prize.
So most people won't know this, is that you have inside information.
No, I just do my research. He spent his wedding night at a funeral home because there were no honeymoons for black people back in the time. He was stabbed in 1958 by a woman who thought he was working with the communists. Over 900 streets in America are named after him.
And you don't want to be near most of them.
It's funny. Chris Rock says, I mean, here's Martin Luther King, and Chris Rock does a great thing on it. Is like every Martin Luther King street in America you don't want to go near. It's kind of a funny bit if you haven't heard it. He was 39 when he died, but this is the most interesting one, I think. He was only 39 when he died, but an autopsy after revealed that he had a heart of a 60-year-old man because of all the stress he'd been through. So that just tells you what burden that MLK lived with.
Well, there was a little couple extra burden. The fact that he was also an alleged womanizer.
You're right.
And I got to tell you, my biggest issue, because we all talk about what a great man he is, and he did amazing things. I've got to tell you, and I know we've spoken about this, and I know I get judged for this, and I'm too judgmental. I have an issue calling someone a great man who does not know how to be a great human being.
Well,
and I think if you cheat, if you disrespect the person you're supposed to love and your children, because you're not just and by the way, I'm not judging people who have done it, and it happens all the time, and then people, I lose a lot of friends because they're like, I don't want to be friends with a guy who's going to then like, rat me out. And I don't mean it to be negative, and I'm not trying to be judgmental, but I do think you can say he's a great baseball player, great this. Martin Luther King was great at a lot of things. He wasn't a great man if he's cheating on his wife and his kids.
I don't think that doesn't make him a great man.
Right, exactly.
I think it doesn't make him a good husband.
Okay, thank you.
Or father. But I think there's no denying that he was a great man because all he did.
Exactly. Okay, you're right.
So if you differentiate the two, and I think it's fair to say that.
How do I do that? What are the words I use to actually say? Because it happens.
He wasn't a great husband.
Yeah, but to me that's about character, and he had all this amazing character, which makes it even more crazy to me. And by the way, there are a lot of great men who do it. Mm-hmm. Thomas Jefferson, a million great men. You're like, well, that's a great man. Well, the thing is, if to me, the most intimate thing is your relationship with people. And that's not just your husband or your wife, it's your friend. And we've spoken about this, Ben. If you're going to cheat on your wife, how am I going to ever trust you as my friend? If you're going to cheat on your wife and your kids, why would you be loyal to me as a friend.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting discussion, but I think that history, tells a story of MLK and all the things that he did, and yeah, maybe he wasn't the best husband, but you can't take away from
what he did for the country.
What he did for the country and what he did for the
people.
African American
Right.
community. He received a C in public speaking in school, which I thought was just hilarious because obviously he went on to become one of the world's greatest public speakers.
That's because you never doubt anyone has the ability to do what they really want to do. Mike Piazza is a great example of that. JJ is a great example of that because JJ was a balloon and is now a fine young woman. And we do have someone on air. Do we have like a news? We do have someone on the radio dial here who has listened to... watched JJ. Melissa, did you watch that JJ video?
Yes, I did.
Were you impressed?
What I really noticed, I've actually known JJ quite a few years. I didn't realize she had more names than I do.
Oh, yeah, she's got a lot of names. A lot. Can I just give us the full name, JJ?
Well, I was born Jennifer Suzanne Bruff.
Which
Bruff?
yes.
Bruff?
Yes.
Yeah.
BRUFF?
No, bro.
BROUGH.
Bro.
Yeah.
Bruff.
It's Bruff.
Bruff.
Now she's
And
got
then
a
when
I'm going
was-
to call you
JJ.
JJ. Bruh.
What's
Then
up,
when
bro?
I was 10, I met my father and I added the last name West. And then I started disliking the name Jennifer because there's so many. It was the most popular name when I was born. So I started experimenting with names.
Experimenting.
And finally, when I was
Like MLK.
14, I saw this lady win the Daytime Emmy Awards, and her name was Jensen. And I figured my
on.
mom could still call me Jenny, so I chose Jensen, and I changed my name legally.
Do you see any foreseeable changes in your name, or this is the one you're sticking with?
Well, right
Possibly.
now,
If
when
you
I
got
get married,
will you use that name?
Melissa, what was your first reaction when you saw? You obviously know JJ. What was your first reaction? Did you know her when she
Was bigger?
swallowed the basketball?
No, I did not.
It was kind of shocking, right?
Oh, the first shot, you couldn't really see that well. So I'm like, oh, what's the big deal? And then they kind of zoomed in. I'm like, oh, okay.
Well,
Yeah.
well, we appreciate the insight. Thank you very much.
Wait. I want to give Melissa something though. Melissa, would you like the first season of
jarring questions.
All
too.
right. Well, I was not
She
done with
seems
my
like a
thing.
jarring questions kind of gal.
All right, we're going to give you Jarring Questions, which is a great game that's now in a lot of stores from Nordstrom's on. It's a conversation starter, and we're going to give you from our friends at Showtime the first season of The Affair, whether you want it or not. So stay on the line. We're going to do that with you. Thank you, Melissa.
And we also have Teddy.
I know I shouldn't have brought up the MLK thing.
Yeah,
Teddy's going to
Teddy-
either lambaste me or agree. I don't know.
Teddy, you want to talk about MLK?
I certainly do, and I certainly agree with his statement. Just because you do great things doesn't make you a great man.
Mm-hmm.
If you're preaching and you're wanting to be a preacher and you're using God as your forefront to get things done, you can't be breaking one of the 10 Commandments.
Mm.
I agree. If you're cheating on your wife, it does not make you a great man anymore. It
Right.
makes you a man who does great things, but also does bad things.
I agree, and Teddy, that's my issue with religion in general. You all these preachers, and you look at these churches that are making so much money, and then you look at private planes for the preacher and all this stuff going on, and that has zero to do with doing great things. That's just self-serving to me, and I don't know. That's my issue with. I had something happen a few years ago with A-Rod. We had an event with him, and he came over and. He said, "Oh, do you want me to sign this jersey?" And I said, "No, thanks," because I didn't want to put up. For me, didn't want my kid to think, "Well, this is what we are thinking. We're going to celebrate a guy who is steroids, cheats on his wife, and is basically he might be a nice guy. He was nice enough that day, but he's not doing things that I really want to celebrate." And I don't know. That's just the way I look at it.
Teddy, when
I
you
agree because
Go
I'm
ahead.
Sure there's a lot of nice. I'm sure there's a lot of nice people in prison that have done terrible things. And they
Right.
could actually be nice people. But I appreciate what he has done for the United States and the people he was standing up for, and still is a symbol of. I totally agree with all that. I think it's some of the greatest things that's happened in our country. But it's just hard to validate him being a great man if you're going to cheat on your wife, what else have you done that has just never been brought to the forefront?
Right.
If you want to see a good example of that, it's the Ray Charles movie.
Yep.
Everybody just looked at him as a great entertainer, as a monumental this and that. But then when you see the movie and you see his addiction and the way he treated the people around him, it kind of just gives you that. I just can't validate that. I just can't get behind that 100%.
Yeah.
But we're not all perfect.
Right. And
I'm
that's
not going to label you a great man. I'm just going to label you a good man who does great things, who still has issues like the rest of the human race.
Right. Yeah, and I guess that's my point too. Is that, and Teddy, thank you very much for the call, and we appreciate your insight. I think we all have our demons, and I think when you're in the forefront and in the public eye, those demons sort of tend to get revealed more often. And unfortunately, people go digging, and imagine if MLK were today.
Yeah.
He lived in an era. Arnold Palmer, the greatest golfer, one of the greatest golfers in the history of the world, was a notorious womanizer.
Yeah.
Okay. There was a thing on tour that said when Arnie Palmer came to town, lock away your daughters and your moms.
Was he married?
Yes, he was married. And so
that's just sad to me, actually. But I'm not. And again, I'm sorry if it comes off judgmental, because I don't mean it to be.
It's not. It's how you feel. But one of the things that everybody knew about it in the press. I'm sure that all the press that followed MLK knew about it, but they sort of just left it alone.
Right.
And you look at you fast forward to 5 years ago with Tiger Woods and what he did, and all. It was a different era. They beat the hell out of him. And I'm not saying that to justify what he did or what Arnie did, but it was just a different era.
And you also
where
have to separate.
People focused more on the actions than they did. As far as
Mickey Mantle was a drunk.
Yep.
Babe Ruth was a drunk. Fergie Jenkins was a cocaine. He was shooting up heroin. And you think he's in the Hall of Fame. Like these, we're talking about. You look at David Wells. People loved him. He was drunk on his no-hitter or had a hangover that day.
He drank in the bullpen.
Yeah, so. That's just kind of
We're
life.
all flawed.
Right.
And that's the thing is we're all flawed human beings.
And we all grow up. You just hope you kind of grow past things.
Right.
So I don't have, again, I hope the best for everybody. And I also think that it's okay. Like, have I ever cheated on anyone? Yeah. And could you say that that maybe that scars for the rest of my life? Yeah, you could say that. But we all grow up and you move on. But if you don't learn from your mistakes and you repeat it, then you're kind of just an idiot,
right? Right.
Like, at what point do you pull your head out of your butt?
Right. And that's the thing is that like I said, we're all flawed. We all make mistakes. Cheating on. I think not everybody, but I've cheated on girlfriends before, and made my mistakes, and I think that like you said, if we learn from those mistakes and don't and learn from them, then we become better people.
Right.
If we don't,
Hey, we really screwed up. We didn't talk about anything we're going to talk about, so maybe we'll try to get to that. And I also did want to give a great plug to our friends at Any Car USA before we go to commercial. We're just getting a friend of ours just got another car. They barely had to pay anything on it. I am telling you, call Derek and tell him that the Miggs and Swig show has sent you. 727-807-3226. If you need a car, go to Any Car USA.
He's a wizard. He's a wizard.
It's unbelievable what they can get you a car for, and I just had to say that before we go to commercial. On the Miggs and Swig show, back after these messages.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Miggs and Swig show. It is just Don, Miggs, and Ben Swig and JJ here today, and I think we did an okay job. We missed the women. We missed their input a little bit.
I do.
Oh yeah, you're just saying that to protect yourself from your wife. We all love social media, right? And
we do.
It's a very effective tool. Yeah, Don, you love social media. Don't try to pretend like you don't.
All right.
I've seen your posts. And it's interesting to me because there are so many idiots in the world. I've came across this article.
A lot of idiots just in this room.
Right.
We're full of
right.
it. Well, except,
And I think it's fair to say, not to cast names on people, but I think it's fair to call these people idiots. And if there's another word that I could use on air, I would use
moron.
A moron, idiots, stupid. So this article from Business Insider I came across about a bunch of people who posted selfies on Facebook. We all love selfies, right?
No, those I hate.
Well, okay, I hate them too. But
sorry,
most people love selfies, and they have
big
to go.
selfie taker.
But these are criminals who post pictures or selfies on their Facebook page of them doing illegal acts.
How many criminals do you know, though, that are really... There are only a few that you go, that's a smart criminal.
Right.
Well, a couple of masterminds. Most of them are morons.
So one guy gets 15 years in prison after posting a selfie on Facebook of him holding a gun. And he's a 2-time convicted felon of gun possession, and it is illegal for him to possess a firearm.
I'm guessing a 10-time moron. He's probably done things like this before.
So he posted a picture, a selfie of him with a camera, with a gun behind him, aimed at the camera, and law enforcement got a hold of him and threw him in jail for 15 years.
Wow.
2 girls took this selfie before allegedly they were in masks and the hood on their own Facebook or Instagram. They took a selfie before they went in and robbed a restaurant in Sweden. And obviously got caught. It's like, I did it. They're posting.
Right.
I'm about to rob this restaurant. Here's who I am.
By the way, if you want to read along with Ben at some point, businessinsider.com is where we got that stuff.
Right,
so
and the title is, there's a bunch of them. I'm just sort of giving a couple. The title is, this guy got 15 years in prison after posting a selfie on Facebook, and he's not the only one. It's on businessinsider.com.
But your next one's so great. The Kaylee Hill one.
Oh, the Kaylee Hill one. Well, I was going to skip over that one, but go ahead.
Sorry. She runs onto a baseball field during the 2013 College World Series and films herself being tackled by security guards on Vine, all for the sake of a really good selfie.
Right. Well, which
her parents must be so proud.
Which at that one, I mean, she's obviously running on the field. There's no question that she's getting arrested. So that one, it was funny. But this one, a guy steals an iPad in Milan, and then he goes on to take a selfie with somebody else's iPad. So I steal Don's iPad, I take a picture with it, and it goes right to the iCloud of the person's account who he stole, and he was arrested from that.
Not the sharpest tool in the shed.
No. Justin Baller, 21, posted selfies.
Not Bieber.
No, not Bieber, not yet. Posted selfies with a gun on Facebook. He then allegedly robbed a bank in Michigan. Investigators who had seen the security camera footage recognized him and arrested him. It goes on and on. This is a great article, and it amazes me. I mean, it amazes me that crime is hard enough to get away with, right?
Yeah.
If you're
you don't have to stack the deck against yourself.
Right. If you're going to go rob a restaurant, you probably don't want to take a picture of yourself before the fact and put it on your social media.
If that's going to be your profession, do yourself a favor and watch almost any TV show nowadays after 9 o'clock at night, and they'll teach you how to be really good at being really bad. And the other thing you do need to know with all that is, I don't think you've really, truly ever met a criminal that's done anything significant that hasn't been caught at some point, including El Chapo, who I thought we were going to speak to today.
No, we spoke to him last week. He has gotten his, at least temporarily, has gotten his phone privileges taken away. So hopefully we'll get him on the show next week. But let me talk about that for a second.
I want El Chapo back.
So Sean Penn does this interview. This Mexican actress sort of sets it up, and he gets this interview for Rolling Stone. He's protected under journalists, however they're protected. But, there's questions about, did he give information to law enforcement to help capture, or what he did, or they tracked him or whatever. I don't think Sean Penn's going to be on the face of this earth much longer.
Yeah, he's got...
I mean, if you are responsible for putting El Chapo, the number one drug kingpin, in jail and getting captured, I think your fate is sealed.
Especially if you spend a lot of your time in third world countries saving... By the way, great example of a guy that does really good things but must be not such a good human being.
Oh, no. Not a good human being.
Right.
Well,
that's wrong. He's a good human being because he does good things for other people, but he hasn't figured out that maybe if he just does a couple good things for his family,
And
might
the
work
real
out better
reason
for
I
his
think he
life.
got the El Chapo interview was because he is you get frequent flyer miles. I think he was one of El Chapo's best customers.
By the way, that's Swig saying it. That is not Miggs. I am not. Then again, you have addiction in your bloodline, so you can maybe.
I do have addiction in my
So
bloodline.
you could.
I was. I don't think El Chapo was the drug kingpin when I was going through my addiction. But
Does Sean seem to fit the bill as someone who?
does he partake in narcotics?
Yeah.
If I were a betting man,
And you are.
and I am, I would put a lot of money that he is a.
So then we'll go the opposite because you're not a good betting. Are you a good betting man?
I'm a
Actually?
good
Let me
betting
ask.
man.
Because I've only heard really the horror stories.
So I mean, all you have to do is look at my picks that I've given everybody over this since we've been on 102.5 The Bone in 9-3-1.
Really?
9-3-1.
All right. So
That's
how
pretty
much?
good.
So I'm not a betting guy.
Yeah.
I don't want to. I honestly don't want to win the lottery. Never wanted to. Never played it because I was always like, I want to earn it, which is probably pretty stupid. And then that's what's funny. I was saying before. Then I marry Lisa, and it's like I won the lottery anyway. But I never. That was never something I would want to do. But at 9-3-1,
I think you're talking about the spiritual lottery. I mean, yeah, Lisa, it comes from the family she came from, and with that is,
oh, come on. Everybody around us thinks that, like, I'm at home printing money and I have a tree.
Right. But I think, like I married Nadia. I won the lottery. I mean, it's there's a spiritual
good
lottery.
kisser. That Nadia is a good kisser.
Yeah, I'm glad you know
A
that.
little too much tongue, but a good, solid kisser. Cuddler. She's a cuddler.
She is a cuddler.
No, but she's not a handsy person though.
Are you?
You know, I try giving her hugs.
Awkward moment. You try to give her hugs and you lean up against her big booby jeans.
No,
My
I'm
wife's got
very
big boobs.
respectful about that.
No,
Very,
So
very respectful.
You kind of do the back thing.
I hug her from behind.
Right.
Yeah, right from behind.
Right. You don't try to test
No.
the antennas.
No,
You're right.
no.
Adjust the antennas.
Oh God.
Yeah, that was just that conversation went so
it's
bad.
any wonder that you stay married.
Well, I didn't the first time.
That's a good point.
So the second one's, it's the question mark is still there. But yes, I am a betting man.
All right, hey, you know what? We didn't do any music at all. None of our,
do we have time?
Getting swiggy with it. Do we have a minute to do something?
Yeah, we got 8.5.
All right, can we?
What do you want to do?
I want to
Don't
do a
do
yay or nay, please, with JJ. She's here. I want to honor her and honor what she means to me.
This
And
is a Donny and Marie song, Jump, Jive, and Wail.
I want to get her running. Let's do this.
And now it's
Yay or nay with JJ.
That's me.
Did you get that from the Mickey Mouse thing? That's me, because I just saw the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse thing with my kids, and he says that's me. Mickey does.
Oh, really? No,
That's me.
I was just joking in the studio with Michael, and then he took what I was jokingly saying. I
All
don't
right.
usually watch Mickey Mouse Club a lot.
All right, that's probably not true. Go on. We're gonna do one.
This one?
No, it was queued up.
I like that one.
No, it wasn't.
No.
Oh, JJ, run
Jesus.
over.
This is why we don't do yay or nay
See,
with
honestly,
JJ here
this
on the
is why I
Miggs
don't
and
like
Swig.
people, because JJ's just ruined the Miggs and Swig show. 1-800-771-1025. If you want to just rehash anything we've spoken about on the show in the last several minutes, we'd
Why
love
they
to
don't
have
give
you.
me a mic?
And here comes JJ.
All right, here we go.
You walk by the magazines, sitting on the rack at the CVS. One more sad movie star divorce. 300 died in an airplane wreck. And you think of all the people suffering, and you bury that pain. But you could tell me everything, and we'll ride on that wave. If I was king of the world, you'd be my girl. You wouldn't have to shed one single tear unless you
Does anyone have a knife? I want to.
Yeah.
I want to stab myself in the neck.
I want the last
Well,
2
it's
minutes
the
of
new
my life
Weezer
back.
song, and it's important because they're going on tour. They're back with their new album.
That's not why it's important. What's
It's
important is they
because
should break
Weezer
up.
should never be anywhere
They're coming
near
to Tampa.
music. Good. Don't go.
With Panic at the Disco and Andrew McMahon in the Wilderness.
I want to see Andrew McMahon, but I've got to tell you, Weezer had a moment, and they shot that moment right in the head.
Yeah, their last. I don't love this song. But maybe the listeners do.
No, they
the
don't.
last couple albums have
Terrible.
just been horrible. It's like
Terrible.
there's nothing new. Nothing.
No, everything is
creative.
trying to be ironic. Like the whole like that sort of talk You know who does that well?
Who?
And I'm gonna say he does it well, and I shouldn't say hate. I don't hate anything. Pat Monahan and Train. They do that. Hey, I was walking down the store, put the latte in my hand, then we started looking at Kim Kardashian. Like, and he does that stuff well, and people, it resonates with people. But Weezer, I just forgot his name. He's so busy trying to be ironic and
Tweezer
and
I
cool.
think it's Tweezer.
Rivers?
Yeah, Cuomo Rivers. Rivers Cuomo.
This is a stretch, and I try to look. I'm going to try to look for somebody who's so negative. I'm going to try to look for some positives.
Ben is negative.
One thing about Weezer that I will give them credit for, in the spirit of David Bowie, is they try different things. Okay?
I don't think anything's been different.
Ben, I'm sorry, I'm going to need you. No.
Okay.
No. They do the same different thing. They do it's the same. So they brought in some producers. I think that's their issue to me, is that they're still trying to rehash the same stupid story. But I love the fact that we see that coin on opposite sides.
Yeah,
that's the beauty of.
I listen. I don't listen to this new album or the last. The only thing I do is maybe if they'll come across the radio, and it just seems to me that the sound is different.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
So you know, whether they do a rap song or whether they do so that's just what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the sound. I'm talking about David Bowie came out with he would transition his sound and change his sound and evolve his sound. I mean, it's like what Mumford & Son did. I mean, to be an innovator and to be a long-lasting, Weezer's been in the game a long time, and you have to adapt or die.
Right.
And so that's what I meant by it. I didn't mean...
It's funny, though. They still get a shot at staying in the game based on their history, because they, in my opinion, and I like a couple of things from them, they haven't made anything
There's not
worth
one thing in the
listening to.
world I like out of them. But anyways...
Well, they come to Tampa on June 15th to play the Mid-Florida Credit Union Amphitheater.
And who won't be there?
Me.
Well, you'll be in Los Angeles, and Ben most definitely will not be there.
Are you going to go?
No.
I would go for Andrew McMahon. I'd go watch him do his, but even that, you know what? I wouldn't go.
No.
I'm out. I am going. I have trouble going anywhere anyway. I'm taking the kids today to a hockey game. And I'm already regretting the decision.
You were trying to give away the tickets before.
No, I have 2 extra tickets.
Oh.
Ryan, if you want to go, I have 2 tickets today. Yeah, and then someone said we should give them away to listeners. To be honest with you guys out there, no offense, I'm not really interested right now. I just got off a plane. I'm on tour. I've been with people constantly. I don't want to go in a suite and then have to be nice to you. That's the truth. I want to just be with my 2 little boys.
We appreciate your honesty.
I have my 2 boys going to be with me. I might actually come off the cleanse and eat stuff I shouldn't today with them.
I think you deserve it.
No.
Yeah, we have popcorn coming in the suite. I think I have pizzas. We're going to bring the Greeton family, which they have 4 kids, which is a mistake. You never have more kids than you do have parents.
Have you ever been I guess on the road you have. I can answer my own question, but you've been around Temptations with the food, obviously. I mean, on the road.
How crazy is it? How weak am I that the Temptations we talk about with me aren't drugs or women? It's food.
No.
No, it's funny. I'm so boring. It's like, I've been around a chocolate chip. I'm in the most boring band ever. We go to Whole Foods and we're in the nut aisle for 25 minutes, and our driver and our sound man are eating chips, and they're eating all this junk, and we're all in the back do you have how many cashews you think I could eat now? The guys in the band.
The reality of rock and roll, and I posted something on my socials a while ago. It was what people think actually happens backstage, and there's women with their boobs out and drugs and cocaine all around and a big party, and then at the bottom of it says what really goes on backstage. People are sitting around on their phones, and there's just
Ben, last night, so we're getting ready. We do our set, and now I get up with Cowboy Mouth and I play at the end and sing, and we all go do meet and greet stuff, and we spend a lot of time doing it. So I go in the back to get everybody. Michael, our bass player, is flat out it's dripping saliva. Walker has his sweatshirt tied around his head so that you can't see him, and he's asleep. And John, who drank the night before and doesn't usually drink like he did, was like just trying to stay, upright.
Right.
It's so incredibly different, like you said.
Yeah.
And the people out front were like, hey, can I come backstage? And the reason why I don't let people come most time, they're just going to be disappointed.
Right. I mean, I remember I know we're running out of time, but one of my most exciting I thought was going to be the most exciting time was one of our bands finally got this big tour, and they got a tour bus, and I was going to go meet them and go on tour for 4 days and go, sleep on the tour bus, and I was going to live that rock and roll lifestyle. By the first night, I couldn't. It was the longest 4 days of my life. It was the most boring 4 days of my life.
I do love the solitude of my bunk for sure. Hey, you guys, you listen to the Miggs and Swig show, and another Sunday is coming to a close for us as it's just getting started for you. Happy to have been part of your day, and we will be back with you next week, and the gang will be all back. So we'll have JoJo and Lisa DeBartolo, Miggs, my incredibly beautiful wife.
Don, we did it.
We did it almost.
The Miggs and Swig show.
We did have to have some help from these guys.
Yeah, but they didn't add much.
Jamie and Ryan, yeah,
we could have done it without them.
We could have done it without them.
Okay, fine. Next week we're taking off. See ya.
We couldn't have done it without JJ and the video you can watch of her. Miggs and Swig show. You guys be good to each other, be good to yourself, and we will see you next week here on the show.